Almost every person is fascinated with time travel. There is just something compelling about the ability to time travel back to see past events from history or go into the future and see what your life will be like. However, some people are skeptical about it, and time travel is often considered science fiction. While some are doubtful, others are genuine believers. So guys, from the green children of the wool pit to a disappearing pilot, check out the 10 scariest stories from those who told to have traveled in time. Number 10. Hakan Nordkvist. Back in 2006, Hakan Nordkvist claimed he had been to the year 2046. Wondering how? Well, he said his kitchen sink is the portal. The way he found out was he was trying to fix a problem under his sink, but when he went into the cabinet, the most bizarre thing happened. He noticed that it had no end. So his curiosity made him keep going and going until he eventually got to the other end of the tunnel, and he was in the year 2042. So listen to this. He met his older self. How can we believe this, you wonder? Well, he brought his phone with him and he filmed the event. So what you're seeing now is the footage of Hakan spending time with his future self in 2042. In the video, you could see him showing off their identical tattoos. Imagine knowing you could go back to any moment you'd like and relive it, even possibly change it. Relive moments with passed away loved ones. Visit historical timelines. As good as it sounds, it is a little scary. So guys, do you believe Hakan's time travel story? Number 9. Marie Antoinette. Back in 1901, two professors from St. Hugh's College in Oxford, England, attended the Palace of Versailles. Versailles was the French royal home until the monarchy was destroyed in 1792. Marie Antoinette, one of the last royals to live there, was beheaded in 1793. When the professors Annie Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain went to the palace in 1901, they were just walking in the palace, and the only thing they weren't expecting to see was Marie Antoinette relaxing on a stool outside Petit Trianon. However, there she was, relaxing, but unaware that two women were looking at her and all the other people in 1780s period attire who had just appeared just as Antoinette. But when the tour guide appeared to speak to Moberly and Jourdain, Antoinette and everyone else disappeared. Their experience is written in their book, An Adventure. According to many people, they didn't have a reason to just make up a story like this one. So guys, did they travel through time? What do you think? Number 8. The Green Children of Wool Pit. In the 12th century, a boy and a girl located an abandoned wool pit in England. It was hard to communicate with them since they didn't speak English or any other known language for that matter. And the weirdest thing is that their skin was green. Yeah guys, green. A local villager took them and the boy died soon after, but the girl survived and learned to speak English. When she was able to tell where she came from, people were terrified. She told that she had come from a twilight-covered area called St. Martin's Land, and she and her brother were taking care of her father's sheep one day when they spotted a cave. Now, out of curiosity, they went into the cave, and after walking for a long time, they found themselves in a wool pit. Why is their skin green? And did they come from the future or from the past? Number 7. John Titor. In November 2000, the Time Travel Institute forums came across some weird activity. There was a man named John Titor. Titor stated that he came from the year 2036, and his reason for coming was an IMB computer that they needed to debug for some computer programs. But the scariest thing is, this man warned everyone about how awful the future was going to get. People trusted every word he said, that civil crisis would begin in the United States in 2004, and that there will be a full-blown civil war by 2012. By 2015, he said that World War III would have come and gone. Nothing he said turned out to be true, but as he previously mentioned, people trusted him. Why? Because the stories he told were so detailed, also the story of his mechanics and his machine, so that it was hard to believe that he was telling lies. Number 6. Charlotte Warburton. Sometimes time-traveling stories would make you feel scared to experience such a thing. Charlotte Warburton entered a cafe she had never seen before. However, the weirdest thing is that there were no windows in the shop. But Charlotte was so surprised to see people dressed up in old-fashioned style, and shortly after her visit, she came back but couldn't find the cafe. She learned that there was a cafe in the spot but many years ago. It had been replaced by a supermarket years ago before Charlotte said to have even visited it. Number 5. Miles Magister. Air Marshal Sir Robert Victor Goddard. was given the assignment to investigate an abandoned airfield in Edinburgh in 1935. The plane was dilapidated, so he decided to take off, but a storm occurred and he got back to the airfield to wait for the storm to pass. As he neared the landing strip, something very odd happened. The clouds cleared out of nowhere, and he saw that previously abandoned area was now filled with mechanics in blue jumpsuits. There were 4 yellow planes on the tarmac, and one of them got his attention since he had never seen that kind of plane before. Now the guy went back to there 4 years later, and the weirdest thing happened. It was in full use. People in blue jumpsuits were working and yellow planes were all over the place. Goddard was perplexed. On the runway was the plane that he couldn't recognize in 1935, a Miles Magister. The Magister was built in 1938, 3 years after Goddard first saw it. Number 4. To the past. A man which was known as LC, together with his business partner, Charlie, were traveling north from Abbeville, Louisiana, to Lafayette on Highway 167 in 1969. They were driving through an empty road. They began to pass what seemed to be an old car moving very slowly. They were simply amazed by the condition of the 30-year-old car. The car looked new, but it had an orange license plate saying only 1940. As they passed the vehicle, they stopped to look at the old design. The driver of the car was a young woman dressed in old 1940s clothes, and beside her, there was a small child likewise dressed. The woman panicked and one of the men asked if she needed help. Then they both got out of the car and noticed that the old car had disappeared without a trace. Shortly after, another car pulled up. The driver told LC and Charlie that he had seen everything, and the old car just disappeared into thin air. Number 3. Hotel. Back in 1979, 2 British couples were vacationing in the north part of France, and one night they were looking for a place to stay. They came across an old-fashioned resort named Hotel. What they saw was quite interesting. Everything was made out of heavy wood, and there were no telephones. The windows had wooden covers but no glass. And the next morning, while they were eating their breakfast, 2 police officers came and both were dressed in old-fashioned uniforms. The weirdest thing was, the couple paid only 19 francs before they left the place. So 2 weeks later, they decided to come back to the cheap hotel. But when they came back to the place, the hotel wasn't there. And a little investigation showed that French police officers had stopped wearing cape uniforms from 1905. Number 2. Disappearing pilot. On a flight to Europe, 4 pilots took off, but the plane landed with only 3. The weirdest thing was that there was no evidence the 4th man was ever discovered. His baggage was still there, and there was no report from him ever going through immigration or customs. It was said that he purposely disappeared to run away from financial issues. But that was not possible since, again, there was no evidence of him leaving the plane. Do you guys think time travel is involved in this story? Let us know. Number 1. Operation Gomorrah. A German newspaper sent journalist J. Bernhard Hutton, along with photographer Joachim Brandt, to do a story on the Hamburg shipyard in 1932. Everything was fine until the bombs began falling down on them. Hutton and Brandt quickly realized they were in the middle of an air raid and quickly left. But they did take photographs. When no one believed their story, they developed the photos they took just to prove everyone that the incident had happened. But the photos showed no signs of an air raid. And listen to this, you guys. 11 years later, Hutton was in London when he reached for a newspaper and read something he couldn't believe. A story about Operation Gomorrah, an air raid on Hamburg. The photos in the newspaper looked exactly like what he saw in 1932. Wouldn't it be cool if time travel were possible? Would you travel? Let us know in the comments, and make sure you like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more amazing videos such as this. Thanks for watching.